course, President Glasser's trademark at the beginning was that students first, and I think that you know, that's easy to have a phrase like that. But what you're saying is one example of, you know, this was money that was going to benefit the students as well as the faculty.
Oh, sure, sure.
And I think that's probably what she was after. What would you say, you know, this is kind of a global question, 35 plus years around campus here, how has Eastern changed during that time in, you know, a couple of significant ways, and how has it not changed?
I think the campus is much more diverse today, and there's much more of a welcoming of diversity. To go back to some of the Bob Martin stories, there were some people who did not have contracts renewed because allegedly they were gay. There was one black minister who Martin basically forbade to come on campus, not because he was black, but because he was really sort of promoting involvement in the civil rights movement. There were not a lot of women in certainly not any in, very few at least, in administrative positions, and not a lot of women professors. Today that has all changed. For a while there it almost looked like the university was being run by women. So I think diversity, of course, it's also grown a lot. The whole you know, expanding over to the other side of the bypass, and all of that has continued to grow. So that would be one way in which it has changed. I think one thing that for me at least is still very similar, and I tell this to students when I'm advising students, is that I think Eastern is the right size for some of the benefits of a small college and some of the benefits of a large university. I went to a small college, and to me, having a close faculty-student relationship was very important. And at least in our department, students who want that, a lot of them could care less, but for the ones that want that, they can have it. I still stay in contact, as I'm sure you do, with students that I taught years ago, and some that I taught 2 or 3 just a year ago. So there's that opportunity. Our classes, at least in our department, tend to be a lot of them are pretty small. It's not what you think of at a public university. But then we have the larger opportunities too. We have a range of courses and a range of departments that a small college isn't going to have. We have the ability to bring in programs, performers, speakers that you might not get at a smaller college. You get the range of diversity that you might not get at a smaller college. So, but I think we still have, for those that want it, we can still provide a small college type of experience, and I think that's really important.
And just to add that, several of our guests here have talked about that Eastern has been and remains a friendly place for students, for faculty. There's a little bit more of a feeling of family on this campus, I think, than at other large universities. Would you agree with that, or?
Well, since you talked about the friendly thing, let me just say one thing about, you really haven't asked yet about President Whitlock, and maybe you're getting to that. But I guess one of the things that I've been struck by him is, of course, he's been here as long as I have, longer, I guess, in some ways.
Well, he came about the same time that you and I came.
Yeah, well, he was a student before that, actually. Yeah. So he's been here really longer, but he is so, I think, friendly, knowledgeable, outreaching to everyone, students, faculty, staff. I was at the faculty staff recognition luncheon last year, and you sit there sort of like the old days of graduation. You watch all these people get their little awards for being there 1 year or 5 years or 10 years or 100 years or whatever, and it's in the last several years, it's been not just staff, but faculty, everyone from custodians up to deans. And he had he had a script, but he would go off script a lot, and he would say things to people. And you could just tell that he cared so much about the people who cleaned the buildings and the people that teach the courses and all of those things. Yeah. So I think that is something that we have had. Yeah, there have been ways like that in which I think we have some of that kind of family feeling.
Well, I did have a scripted question about President Whitlock, who, as we tape this program, has been EKU's 11th president for a little over a year, and you've said some, I think, very significant things about him. can you characterize how the campus has changed since he's been here, even though it's been a short period?
Well, I think he came along at just the right time.
Yeah.
I think if he had come right after J.C. Powell, people would have said, oh goodness, everything is so, we're so...
This is J.C. Powell Jr., probably.
Yeah, sort of, yes. and we really needed those outside experiences, even if they were not entirely, no president's going to be perfect, obviously. But I think we needed that sort of exposure to the outside. I think we had a lot of change, not just the 2 presidents in a short time, but a lot of turnover of deans, of vice presidents, policies changing, people not knowing what policies were, just a lot of turmoil, which maybe was good. But I think when President Whitlock came, he was just the right person at the right time. And I think a lot of people are seeing him in a light that they had never really seen him before, because he held a lot of different positions, but he wasn't really seen. Most of the time he wasn't acting in the role of an academic leader, and I think just seeing him as president and just hearing him, I am in Faculty Senate now, and hearing him speak there, and I just sort of look at him in a way that I really didn't for all of those other years. So I think he's the right man for the job. Well, plus he's in my generation, so that's nice.
Well, Dr. Whitlock, I think, has a broad and deep understanding of all that EKU has been, and is in a position and feels very passionately about keeping the good things and maybe getting rid of some of the bad things. So I definitely think, and many others have said this, that he is the right person at the right time to sort of be a calming influence of.
In fact, I don't think I can think of anyone who has disagreed with that idea.
Yeah, that's
right.
So
there's a lot of unanimity right now.
That's right. Well, on that very positive note, we're going to close this session of EKU Then and Now, and you have heard today from Dr. Jane Rainey, who knows as much about this campus as anybody that I know, and told some very interesting stories and memories of Eastern. So thank you for joining us, and please join us again on our next EKU Then and Now.